Have you ever gotten in an argument with someone and tried to convince them or persuade them to accept your way of looking at things, your opinion, your perspective? Well, if you have, you probably butted up against what I like to call the persuasion paradox. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 291 of our annual challenge, our BU 365-day challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us in some way. And so for the past, I don't even know how many days now, probably almost a couple of weeks, we've been talking about paradoxes. And a paradox, I love language and English things and learning and what things mean. I talk about idioms a lot in my Supersize Your Business group. And so I thought paradoxes, well, those are really interesting. They're a statement that sounds absurd when you first heard it. You're like, oh, no way, that can't possibly be true, because it sounds like it's got misinformation or it's twisted or something. And then you start to think about it even a little bit and you're like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely true. I've seen that in other people, and I might even have seen it in myself. Well, this is one I've definitely seen in myself. I call it the persuasion paradox because it's about arguing and trying to convince people of your point of view. Let me grab my magnifying glass and I will read it properly for you so I don't mess it up. It says, the more you try to argue with someone, the less likely you are to convince them of your perspective. So the more you fight with somebody, and if you've ever commented on social media and even not shared your opinion, especially when it comes to politics, religion, different social topics, I can think of like dozens of them. And every once in a while, I'm human and I will slip and someone will say something that is so diametrically opposed to my core beliefs and my values. I will comment. I try to comment in a nice, kind way. But every once in a while, people take it and it comes off a little tweaky, right? Or a little bitchy. And I don't mean for it to be that way. My sister the other day accused me of being condescending. And I'm like, I just asked a question. I wasn't trying to be condescending. But to her, what I said felt like I was criticizing or being condescending for some reason. I think she hangs around my other sister too much. Anyway, so I personally have had this happen where somebody will post something, I'll make a comment, and they'll either take it the right way or the wrong way, and it leads to a little bit of a conversation. And I will catch myself, usually a comment or two in, and say, whoa, hold the phone. This is going the wrong direction. This person's making assumptions. I'm making assumptions about the assumptions they're making, and it's not going anywhere. Because guess what? The only person that can change their mind is you. You're the only person that can change your own mind, and that's true of everyone else as well, right? Nobody is going to convince us of something, short of manipulation, mind, or brainwashing, or, different strategies and techniques that are really immoral and unethical, but we're seeing them used all the time, right? In the media, in advertising and marketing and things, we see all these mind tricks and games that smart business people, smart politicians know how to use, and they're using it to manipulate the masses, not to improve our lives, but to get what they want. So we have to be on the lookout for that, right? And keep in mind that we all are responsible for thinking for ourselves. So what can we do for an action item about this one today? I guess my question for you and for myself is, what do I find myself arguing about the most often? And if I'm really honest, I find myself personally arguing the most for my own limitations, for why I can't do something, why something isn't working, why something isn't where I think it should be yet. I argue for my current beliefs instead of arguing for the things that I want. And it's kind of a scary but true realization, but I can't do anything about it until I am aware of it, right? So even though I was getting ready this morning, I'm like, oh, what do I argue the most about? Well, I argue for why I need to stay the same. Why? And that's really crazy to think, because I set goals and I do all the things that I think I need to be doing to move my life in the direction I want it to go. Yet there's still this underlying current of I need to argue for my current identity and and that includes all of my current beliefs and current limitations, right? So that to me is an eye opener. So our action item today is just to think about and ask yourself, what do you argue the most for? What do you find yourself arguing the most for or about? I have a sister, she argues about politics all the time. And then, the rest of us don't really have much to do with politics, but We definitely don't argue about it. But another one is just sucked into the whole online social media political game. And I call it a game because it's not a game that most people are set up to win. So what do you argue for or about the most in your life? Maybe it's money. Maybe it's how to raise the kids. Maybe it's something at work, that a project or something that's not going the way you think it should be. Maybe it's like me, you are arguing most with yourself in your head for certain things not to change, things to change, whatever it is for you. All right, that is our topic today. I think it's a fascinating one. Like I said, these paradoxes, I think when I first read the list, I'm like, whatever, those aren't true for me. But as I go through each and every one, I can find dozens, if not hundreds of examples in my past where I have absolutely positively fallen for or been a part of this particular paradox, which is why it's a paradox, right? It's a paradox because most of us humans don't think that we're part of it, but we absolutely positively are. We all think we're so different, which we are, but we're also a lot more alike than we ever will be different. Human beings are a lot alike no matter what. So have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye.